All righty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. Guys, we're going to kick it off today with the four major indices over here. We're going to take a look at some futures. So we have the NASDAQ here. We have the ES here. The S&P 500, we have the Russell 2000 here, RTY, we have YM, which is the Dow. What do they all have in common today? You have a hammer candlestick, you have a hammer candlestick, you have a hammer candlestick, and one more time, say it with me. Yes, we have another hammer candlestick. I've been pounding the table on this, guys. Downside has been limited. We spent, had to spend about half an hour, about half of the weekly update. That came out this weekend. If you're new to the channel, we do hit it with a weekly update every Saturday, and then we have a daily update every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. All right, and then we're off Friday and Saturday. But in those weekly updates, we do prepare for the bigger picture point of view. We prepare for how we're going to take advantage of the following week's price action ahead of time. And a lot of the video was spent pointing out that, hey, downside is limited, guys. If we see this Monday or Tuesday capitulation style event, you see a big move down, you see SPY between 570 and 575. The bottom is probably right there. All right. There are a lot of people thinking the market is going to be moving down. That is indicative of, fear and greed index being down here at 25 today at the lows. You actually were in extreme fear territory, but guess what? You're sitting right there at 27 now. You're still right above extreme fear territory. As we know, guys, when you are in fear territory, this is where you get your bottoms get put in. All right. You don't dance around in this extreme fear territory. We're hovering right above it right now. As you can see, you typically just have like one day where you come down there and then you come back up. This is only a year of data right here, but you can go back the last 2 to 3 years. It's going to look the exact same. All of your bottoms, you're going to be sitting down here in extreme fear. People think the market's going to fall off a cliff right now when we have that looking like that. It makes absolutely no sense. I'll tell you for a fact, it's not going to be the case. All right. It is not going to be the case. We are going to be experiencing a rally. And I do think we just saw a short-term bottom get put in today with all these bottoming tails that we have across the board. So let's just carry on here. We're going to try and do this, quickly here. We're going to try and go through everything, have a nice presentation for us. We're going to kick it off here. All right. First point Henry's bringing to the table, guys. We have a hammer candlestick with a nice fat bottoming tail on all four major indices. We got the NASDAQ, we got the S&P 500, we got the Russell 2000, we have the Dow. They all have that bottoming tail. You have the bullish divergence sitting over here on the Dow. You also have the same thing on the Russell 2000. You're in the golden pocket for this whole most recent move here in the Russell 2000. All right. Now let's come over here to the indices. Let's go over what we're going to be paying attention to. But first things first, guys, on the weekly time frame, I pointed out, yes, we all can see the very bearish weekly bearish engulfing candlestick. We printed like pretty much on every ticker we were taking a look at in the weekly update. We all saw it. We mentioned it. Okay. But what did we also mention? Pretty much what we just went over, guys. When this thing is in extreme fear territory, you do not see much further downside. I also pointed out how the NASDAQ will call an oscillator. If we get another down day and you close, down, you see that 575 we talked about over there on the S&P 500, on SPY over here. Guess what? That's going to be right back down to the same exact spot where it started bouncing back at. It did not load for today yet. But it is just going to be down here, guys. If we close at the lows, this thing was going to close out down here, and we're going to have a big buying opportunity here, flashing the red light right in front of our face. It is not a market crash. I can tell you for a fact, we're not getting a market crash right now. We don't have the conditions that we would for said crash. It is not happening, which means these dips, these oversold conditions, they're providing buying opportunities. And if you are not going to look at it that way, you are probably going to have a bad time. And I am pretty positive we all are here to have a good time. So don't shoot yourself in the foot. Do not get bearish and short the whole. It's not worth it. Okay. Resistance over here on SPY, guys. We're watching 584.41, 586.12, and 591.04. Things get real crazy. We're watching 599.70. Above 591.04, you don't really have anything until 599.70. That big 600. All right. On the downside of support, we're going to have 580.91. We are going to be watching this 576.74 gap that has been filled today, but we're going to be watching that as support. That is where buyers start stepping in this morning, right off rep. And you do not want to really be taking out the low over here. You know what? We're not going to watch this level, all right? It already served its purpose over here. We're going to watch the low from today, 575.35. You take out that low, all right? You open yourself up for a further spill. At that point, it can get ugly, and you can come all the way back down here. We're talking 567.89 to 570. We do have CPI sitting there on Wednesday before the bell. We have PPI tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time before the bell. You know, it's not going to be the most important thing, but what is going to be the most important thing is what comes the day after. Wednesday morning before open, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have CPI. CPI, guys, it is something that is guaranteed going to be a market mover. It happens pretty much every single month. It moves the market in a big way. I don't doubt that it's going to be that way today. Let's just quickly run through some of these daily charts, and I'm going to show you why, you know, it's probable that we had the bottom get put in today, and we're going to pump off the CPI. All right. First things first, I showed you the indices. You got all these bottoming tails. Go back in these charts, guys, and find me where you have, you know, all four of these just having like their bottoming tails like this. And, you know, it's at the end of this controlled consolidation, this controlled pullback that I've been pointing out here. All right. I know you know, Henry, you're freaking nuts. What are you talking about? Controlled bullish consolidation. Are you crazy? Well, look at how QQ is. QQ, that is the same thing as NASDAQ over here, right? And if, you know, that had, you know, pre-market trade in there shown in the daily candle, you're going to have a nice lower wick sitting right there. You know, I think this is pretty obvious here. You're in the golden pocket. You're, you know, having this controlled consolidation, controlled pullback, whatever you want to look at this as. The market has been consolidating. It has not moved anywhere for like 3 to 4 weeks now. Just about a month, actually. It's the 13th. It topped on the 16th. Just about a month. We've gone absolutely nowhere. SPY, you really could see this, you know, action there. But, you know, it's pretty obvious, guys. It's pretty obvious. So first things first, you got those bottoming tails. Second of all, we'll come over to VIX, guys. You know, I've been talking about it. All these pumps over here in the VIX, they keep getting sold. And, you know, when you want the thing to, you know, do something like that, you usually aren't going to get something like this. If you get something like this, it's going to be like this, where now you consolidate again for the next week over here in the VIX. And that means, you know, S&P 500 is probably not going to be moving down if you're consolidating on the VIX. Probably move sideways slash slowly grinds up if that's going to be the case. I don't know what comes out of this, but I'm telling you right now, we don't have conditions to sell right now. And anybody who's looking for much more downside, I just don't think you're looking at the big picture here. All right, let's go over further details on that big picture, guys. We have Meta. We'll talk about the Mag 7, the major components of the SPY and QQQ, the NASDAQ, and the S&P 500 right there. All right, you got Meta. Meta looks like it wants to do a little bouncy thing from out here over here at the zone. You clearly see buyers are stepping in here. Weekly time frame is nothing but bullish over here. All right, what do you got over here on Amazon, guys? Oh, wait, you're in a bull flag. Okay, you pulled back to that 215.90 spot today. You didn't quite test it. All right, but you got almost down to it. You got down to the bottom trend line here. Now, what is this, guys? You still have this bull flag. Okay, it is still a thing. It is still intact. All right, nothing is wrong. So now we have 2 out of 7 not looking so bad, right? All right, what happens when you come over to Goog? Big, nice bottoming tail over here. Hammer candlestick here on the daily candle on Goog today. Weekly candle really is not, you know, weekly candlestick chart really not looking all too bad over here. Fresh pop up to new all-time highs. And now you're just flipping that, you know, previous supply into support. All right, it is getting flipped into demand. And it's just getting soaked up. And at some point, this is going to probably be seeing a move up. This is a break and retest right over here off the low. You held support today down here. It looks like you're probably going to be moving up here in the short term. So that's Goog. That's 3 out of 7 Mag 7 stocks. What do we have over here? Tesla. Tesla looks like it's about to do some crazy shit, guys. You know, there's really no getting around it. It looks like it's about to pop off. I pointed out, I thought the bottom was probably in right over here. I was thinking it was, I definitely pointed out in the weekly update there. Green light, you want to get over 414.50. Get over 414.50. You probably are going to take out 426.43 in the short term. And at that point, you can see there's really nothing above here. You're going up here. All right. You have a clean shot up. And, you know, I've been very vocal about this, guys. Inauguration is coming in like 10 days. This thing is probably going to start running into that thing. You know, you have this thing running with this thing. Yeah, chances are Tesla's about to do some crazy things. All right. This stock could do some crazy things. Premiums are not ideal over here, and there's not really a company behind this. You know, this is 100% hype, but what can you play instead? Tesla. All right. It's not all 100% hype, just a lot of it. So, you know, it's a big difference there. One company has no company. One stock has no company behind it. It's just the man himself. And then you have over here, this is the guy who now has access to the president for the next 4 years, a direct line to the president, probably will have a big say in a lot of what happens in the government. And yeah, this guy's going to be running the U.S. I think, yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's an easy home run over here. Tesla's heading up to new highs, $500 probably incoming in the short term. Over the next month, probably going to see 500 plus. I do think Tesla is about to start that run up, and once it starts going, it can really get moving. All right, so those are my thoughts over here on Tesla. You could clear as they see. We already hit oversold territory here on the 4-hour RSI. You did not build out the divergence like I was thinking was going to happen, like over here. I was kind of waiting on it. You didn't get it. That's okay, guys. But yeah, get over 414.50, you really start going. So guys, that is now 4 out of 7 Mag 7 stocks. You know, we'll go over Microsoft now. Oh, what is that, guys? We get a bottoming tail. It's not the prettiest looking thing, but it's also not something that tells you you're about to fall off a cliff. All right. It can happen, but you know, when you are falling off the cliff, you typically aren't going to take the pit stops there. And if it is going to be just a little pit stop, you're going to get another 1 to 2 days of bounce. You know, which at least, guys, for tomorrow, short term here, extremely short term, you know, I think it's very not a good bet to bet on the downside. CPI, guys, that's anyone's game. I have absolutely no idea what happens in CPI. Anybody who tells you they know what happens, you know, post CPI, they're talking out their butt. I'll tell you right now, I know for a fact what the charts are, you know, set up to do. I can show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. You know, I could really have this pretty picture in your head. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to wait to see what CPI does. I think it's extremely likely that CPI does not dump this thing down to new lows, given what I'm going over right now. But I could be wrong. And, you know, I'm open to that. But at the end of the day, I do know I'm in winning positions. And I know, you know, how my approach to the market is a winning one. And, you know, at the end of the day, guys, downside is still limited. We have moved nowhere over here on SPY in like 3 weeks. We've moved nowhere. We're right here, 581. Guys, 581 was the like, you know, not the close, but the lows over here. You know, this is back on the 20th. It is the 13th. That is 3 weeks later. We've moved absolutely nowhere, and people are, you know, we're in extreme fear territory still. We've been sitting down here. At some point, this thing's going to snap back up really quick all at once, and, you know, everyone's going to get a quick reminder of how the market actually works. We're not in a bear market. We're not having a market crash. This is a pullback. This is going to act as a buying opportunity. We are very likely going to see all the conditions I'm talking about here reset themselves. We're going to revert back to the mean. All right. SPY over here, I talked about in yesterday's video, it's going to be at 590. People are going to be like, oh my God, what happened? 570 and 575, see that? And then boom, within no time, you're going to be like, what the heck happened? You're at 590. All right. And I think we started that today. I think solid shot. We hit that, you know, either tomorrow or on Wednesday. But, you know, regardless, we don't know what happens with CPI. Charts are definitely set up in a bullish manner here. So that's Microsoft. That is now 5 out of the 7 Mag 7 stocks over here. And what do we got, guys? We got Apple with the hammer candlestick. All right. The hammer freaking candlestick over here. All right. Where are you printing that hammer candlestick? In the golden pocket. At the big weekly break and retest spot. Okay. At the weekly 21 EMA. At the spot on the daily RSI when you've been getting your bounces for the past, you know, a decent amount of time here, okay? For half a year here. All right? If you weren't to, you know, close this candle and print it at the high here, okay, you would have had the daily RSI in oversold territory. I saw it today. It was at like 31. You know, downside was limited no matter what over here in Apple. And this is what I'm saying, all right? You know, downside doesn't have to end tomorrow. Okay. We don't have to just, you know, see the lows that were put in today. We don't have to see this hold. It's very likely that these hold, but even if they don't, I just showed you, all right, this thing's already in the spot where it bounces back from. this thing is going to be down here if you get one of those days and you close out the lows. Like, that's your capitulation. I think we saw that today. It didn't load yet, but, you know, I'm just telling you, for a fact, this is how it works every single time for years and years and years and years now. And if you want to go against it, be my guest. But, you know, I'm just telling you, it is nothing I'm showing you suggesting that you should be going against it, okay? So that's 6 out of 7 Mag 7 stocks. Do you want to see how the 7th one is looking? The 7th one is probably not going to be going down any further. You probably saw your bottom get put in today. You're probably about to start rallying. I was hoping for you to start coming down here. I was hoping that you would come down and tag this low. And I was hoping that this daily RSI would close out down here. Because at that point, I knew we could have another nice opportunity where you buy some time. You load up pretty heavy. And you just sit on your hands and you just wait. All right? We would have the same exact opportunity we got on this day right here. All right, same exact one. We didn't get it, though. We did not get it. But in reality, we knew if you did not bounce back here, okay, if you were not going to hold right here, you're probably just going to come down to 130 and hold there. We talked about this in the weekly up. This is what we're saying. You see Monday or Tuesday capitulation day, you can take advantage of that, and you can make yourself some money, okay? All right? So today, you could have made yourself some money, but even if you're not making your money today, in reality, you are very likely going to see this whole wave of buyers step back into the equation because they ain't there right now. They haven't been there. It's non-existent. But what do you think happens when this thing goes? What do you think happens when NVDA starts pushing back up to 140, 145? What do you think happens when Apple, the king of the stock market over here, all right, respectfully next to NVIDIA, starts to reverse and starts heading back up to 245? What do you think happens when Tesla starts running up back up to the highs? Guys, the stock market is going to go nuts, okay? The market as a whole, if these things all do what I just described, which the charts, they're kind of saying that's probably about to be the case. What happens if Amazon comes up to new highs? What happens if Google pops up to new highs? Like, all of these things are the major components of the SPY and the QQ, the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. NASDAQ specifically, and the S&P 500 loves to follow the NASDAQ. What happens when these things rally and do what they're set up to do? You have markets back up at highs. Why is everyone so bearish right now? Don't you dare be bearish right now. All right? Regardless, guys, we went over the Mag 7 stocks. We'll take a look at the chip stocks real quick, and then we'll close out with the indices. We'll get back to what we, started the video off on over there. Semiconductors, SMH, guys. See, this is what I was saying. Screw this trend line. We're not using it. It's not being respected. Screw this trend line. Doesn't matter. Not being respected. All right. What are we going to watch? The big boy range. Okay. You break above 260, 226, it's on. You're probably pushing all-time highs. You break under 234.17, however, you know that all of this was just, hey, you swept the highs of the range. You went to the low. You got a big move to the downside loading. I do hope that's not the case. But I'm just going to read the chart for how it is. And right now, this thing has a whole crap ton of consolidation. And if you come down here and break out the low, you're probably going to start heading down towards over here. You got kind of absolutely nothing in between here and up here. Okay? That's SMH. We just went over the King NVIDIA here, guys. We knew it was either going to find buyers of the golden pocket. Worst case scenario, you come down here, daily RSI gets oversold. It gets not oversold, but down to that 3750 spot. It's going to be down here at 130, where we know for a fact of demand. We've had demand there. Why is it going to change here? It's not, okay? This thing's probably going to start leading the way back up. I think we're probably going to be testing that 140, 190 level in the short term. AMD over here, guys. I made the call on the weekly update. I think bottom probably in between current price, 116.37 and 111.31 support down here. That is the call I made in the weekly update. Why? Because now, guys, we do have that bullish divergence here on the daily time frame. And, at some point, this thing is going to start snapping back. We knew this was the exact thing we needed to wait for this to happen. We knew we didn't want to be faked out in the first half. I wasn't going to be trading the thing anyway because this thing's been a troll to me over the years. I don't think I've walked away with money on AMD. Maybe a few trades, but overall, no, I'm definitely a loser on AMD. I specifically remember this whole debacle right here. This thing took a chunk of change for me. And ever since then, I've decided to really not touch AMD all that much, okay? But right over here on the daily RSI, we have the bullish divergence that's been, present at these previous bottoms. Bullish divergence, bullish divergence, bullish divergence, bullish divergence, bullish divergence. It's been present. Now we have that, chances are you're going to start bouncing back at some point, probably right around the corner. So keep it on the radar. All right. It is something that I do think is going to be turned around here. All right. TSM, guys, as you could see, we did not end up holding where I was looking to hold. We're going to have to see how you really, close out tomorrow. Because as you can see, we're gapping up. We could easily get back up here and then boom, the picture's restored. But as of right now, this is not something you really wanted to be taking place here. You wanted to hold this level. You did not. You did not do that. Okay. So we'll see what happens tomorrow over here. Overall, I don't think this is just going to have a pop and then a drop falling after all of that consolidation. I think it's very likely to, make its way back up here and stay up here. That is what I'm going to be looking for. Coming over here to MU, guys, you closed out with the hammer candlestick on the day. You pulled back. All right. You've rejected the 0.786 fib, the golden pocket. You rejected it right there at the 0.786 fib for this whole most recent move down. Pulled back. Tested the short-term moving average, tested your 95.53 support. You're trying to hold on for dear life over here. We will see how this goes. All right. But, ideally, you want to get back above that level right there, 96.87. If you can, all right, that is the point when I think you're probably going to start pushing back up. All right. And then, we'll just watch that high right there, 178 incoming. Above 96.87, you watch for 178. Not a ticker that I'd be trading personally. I point out, very clean setups for you guys that I'm going to be, taking my swing trades on a consistent basis here. And, MU, AMD is really never going to be one that, you're going to hear me calling out. All right. ARM here, guys. Same situation as MU, not looking the prettiest, not looking the worst over here. You rejected the 0.786 fib from this whole most recent move down, rejected it, pulled back to the short-term moving averages, guys. You want to reclaim 141.45. All right, that is what is giving you your reactions right here. You're also going to be well above the short-term moving averages. You don't really want to be dancing around here for too long. All right, but when you pop above these things, it's not uncommon to come dance around them. So that's all we're getting right now, guys. But, ideally, you're going to start popping up above 141.45, get a daily close above there, and maybe you start pushing back up to the highs over here. Avgo, guys, did start waking up today off of the daily 21 EMA. You're still just holding this earnings gap. I don't think the earnings gap is going to fail. I do think you're going to make your way up to the highs. But, honestly, it's just a waiting game. Like I said at the beginning of the video, guys, at some point, maybe it wasn't the beginning, maybe it's at the halfway mark at this point. At some point, you're going to have the whole market as a whole start swinging back upwards. All right. You're going to have the momentum step back into this thing. And I know it's not there right now. I understand that it's at the very, beginning stages of that. But we saw the conditions we have right now. We already saw it lead to 2 bounces. Okay. These 2 bounces were dead cat bounces. They were lackluster bounces. Now, I'm not an Elliott wave guy, but I'll tell you right now, this move, I'm pretty sure is completed. This corrective move right here, I think it's completed. I think we are very likely about to start an actual impulsive move that on the first move here takes out this high up here at 527.92. I know, Henry, you're fucking insane. 507 to 527.92. Are you stupid? Yeah, I'm a little stupid sometimes, 100%. But I don't think about this. All right, I think I'm pretty sure I just watched this slow and annoying corrective move take place over here on big tech for the last 3 to 4 weeks. I'm pretty positive that's exactly what I saw happen. I saw a bunch of people at these lows, and at these lows start losing their freaking minds. I got a ton of messages on all of these on this low, and over the past 2 days, I've gotten a ton of messages asking for financial advice. I don't know what to do, and they're like, Henry, I know you can't give financial advice, but I'm in this, and I'm in this, and I bought it today, and like, what do you think about it? And I'm telling you guys right now, all right, I'll do my best to, hold your hand, but, it's really not my job to hold your hand. But again, I will do my best to ease your emotions. I understand. But at the end of the day, over time, you're going to build up enough experience to realize that this happens every single time, and it drives me nuts because I'm the guy who sees it happen every time. And then, I experience it and I'm like, oh my God, I can't be mad at these people. I understand. It's how the market works. It's designed to do this exact thing. But, in reality, guys, just give it 1 to 2 weeks from this point. Okay. You could have bought at these points over here and you would have made a quick profit. At some point, we're going to get this, okay, that's going to bring in the quick profits really quick. But I don't think it's just going to be like this. I think we're going to get like a double of this, okay? I think we're finally going to have an impulsive move that starts up here. And this wasn't it, all right? What I was thinking was happening was not what we just got. We just got straight up 3 to 4 weeks of consolidation, okay? Not 3 to 4 weeks, but, 3 weeks of consolidation. Almost 3 to 4, 3.5 weeks now, all right? You've been consolidating. At some point, you're going to start an impulsive move. I think that is a coming, okay? We did not get an impulsive move to the downside like this where, it really does some damage to the charts. We didn't get that, okay? We got something that you don't even need to reconstruct the chart. Like over here, boom, you had to, come up. You had the lower high. It happened in the golden pocket, of course. Oh, look at that. All right, right there, the 0.786. You had the lower high over here because you took out the last swing low over here on the daily chart. Technically, it's over here, all right? But clear as day, you see the damage was done. You had to reconstruct this bullish look on the chart, all right? And how did that, take form? You made the higher low, came back, you took out the previous high right here. That was the previous lower high, all right? And then, oh, what happens now? Now you're trendless / in your uptrend. And now you're waiting for a big move to start up. And what happens? You consolidate. Oh, but you break above the high again. Now you know, oh, all right, this energy that's forming here, okay, that's building up, it's going to be released. It's likely that it gets released to the upside, all right? You could clearly see the trend was starting to rebuild itself. Over here, guys, we never crapped on the trend, all right? We didn't take out this low, all right? You see what I'm saying? We didn't take out, over here. There's warrant sign number 1, but you got this big one over here, all right? That was like most of the move. Guys, we had a massive move here. This is clear as day a correction, all right? So I'm going to conclude the video with that. That is all I really wanted to, bring to your attention today, guys. We got a bunch of bottoming tails today. I think Meta is about to pop off. I really do think Meta is about to pop off. I think we could see 630 within the next 1 to 2 trading sessions. And then I think right around the corner, we'll have 650. I think if we have a day that gets up here and you close up here, next day you probably get to 650. All right, that's really what I'm thinking, guys. But, in reality, this thing's down here, guys. It is clear as day your buying opportunity. I don't want no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is not going to change, okay? It is not going to change. Repeat, it is not going to change. It will remain this way. You got Tesla setting up in a big way. You got Meta definitely setting up in a big way, all right? You got Goog starting to make that comeback story as of today with today's hammer candlestick. Again, weekly chart really doesn't look all that bad over here. Oh, what do we have over here? Apple's looking absolutely phenomenal after today's daily close. I'm loving the look of it. You already had buyers trying to step in here. Now I'm pretty sure we're gonna close out, or end this, downturn over here with the green hammer candlestick from almost the 0.786 fib there. Daily RSI was just about in oversold territory at the lows today. Come over the 4-hour RSI, all right? This thing's been the crapper for quite some time now. Without the extended hours on, does this look like something that's about to be faded? Probably not. All right. Can it base out around here for a few days? Yeah, I told you, in the weekly update, don't expect things just to rocket ship. It normally doesn't like to rocket ship. It normally likes to build back that momentum. You have to build it back up. You'll base out like this, and then you get that. Okay. I think that's probably going to be how this goes. Does it have to be how it goes? No. All right. We could just kind of swing back up like that. We can, put in some of these bottoms. Like this is what I'm saying, though. You still kind of hit it with the space once you had the bottoming tails getting put in. All right. So, keep your expectations low. But in reality, you're probably about to see some big moves happen in the stock market to the upside with how things are looking. And, I will save that with confidence from this point. We've kind of just been sitting on our hands waiting. All right. At the end of the day, there are a few setups right now that I think are going to pay big. Meta is one. Tesla is definitely one. And Apple is the other one that I'm paying attention to. I think NVIDIA will pay well right now. I think Amazon will do well with, how the structure is looking over here. And I think Google probably within, a few days will be back up at 198 at least. It could happen tomorrow. All right. With that being said, ladies and gents, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope everybody has a lovely rest of their evening. And with that being said, peace.